You meet people on the same level of psychological wound as you.
Oh, man.
You also leave people where if you evolve out of that and they haven't been able to.
Wow. So you think we attract people based on our psychological wounds?
100%.
Wow. And as we start to heal and grow, if the other person's not healing and growing, we kind of pull away.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
You meet people.
Welcome back. Thanks again for coming. Thanks for all the love and the support. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you for your time. You know, I know there's a lot of things to entertain our minds with in the world today. So for you to give me the time that you give me to listen and just hear what I got to say, I truly appreciate it. You know, the things that I share with you guys, it is all over the place. You know, I knew that I kind of wanted to be like an open and like news politics type thing, but you know, some of that stuff is just, it's so terrible that it really gets me going, and I get super gassed up about it. So I just try to do episodes on different things, so you know, we don't always keep our minds in the negative mindset of the news cycles that constantly go all over the place in this world today. You know, it's always something with fear or something going to happen in the world, and we have to you know, we have to control that. Like, it's good to have information, but at the same time, you know, don't be afraid of anything. You can't ever be afraid of anything. You can't let fear control your life. And you know, you want to protect your thoughts. You want to protect your mind and your energy and your peace. Your peace is the most important thing you're ever going to have in this life. Most of us will spend our whole lives and never know what peace is. I know plenty of human beings right now that have no idea what the idea of peace is. They don't know what it's like to wake up and not worry about their past, or not think about their future, or constantly worry about things that they can't control. That's a lot of us. It took me a lot of work, and it takes a lot of looking in and understanding why your life is the way that it is. You have to understand your part in any problem that arises. You have to understand what choices you made that led you to where you are. You have to be able to accept what you've done to put you where you are. And it kind of helps get through life, because then when you understand your choices are, or when you understand your life is a direct reflection of your choices, you make better choices. And that's where it starts. You know, it starts with every day. When you have someone trying to argue with you, like I said, you just don't let them get to you. You know, you don't have to prove anything. You have nothing to prove to anybody. So arguing with somebody and giving them your attention and your energy, that's exactly what they want. You know, people like that, they're called energy vampires, and they want to suck the energy out of the room, out of life. You know, you can take a bad 10 seconds and ruin a whole day, even a whole week, a whole relationship, if you don't control yourself enough. You know, because it doesn't matter how close somebody is to you, they don't have to deal with your negativity. They don't have to deal with the fact that you haven't done legwork to fix yourself, or to even think about yourself. You know, some people are so worried about everybody else and how the world looks at them or how the world feels about them that they don't even focus on how they feel about them. And so you're constantly in this struggle where if you don't know how you feel about you, you're always going to worry what somebody thinks about you, you know. And really, it doesn't matter what somebody fucking thinks about you. Who cares? You're you. You're the best thing in this world because you're you. And there's not another single person that's you. And everybody carries that specialness inside them. That's what makes us unique. That's what makes us human. You know? I really appreciate you guys. I really do. Thanks for liking, sharing, commenting. You know, I know, like I said, this isn't some luxury show with fancy cameras or anything like that. Like, I'm literally in my dining room with my phone. Never done this before. So, you know, I just want something for the people who love me in my life to be able to go back and see me when I'm not here. My dad's not here, and the one thing I miss more than anything is to just be able to see his face or hear his laugh or hear his voice and his knowledge. His knowledge was something he always tried to share with everybody, and if you were fortunate enough to be in his life, you absorbed some of that knowledge, and that's who he was. And so for me, I take that a step further, and I try to share my knowledge with the world. Maybe it's just my small little corner of the world, but hey, it's for me. I'm not in this for money. I'm not in this to get paid. I'm not in this to do anything but share my story and share my opinions and the things that I know with the people that I love. I appreciate all of you guys. I love all of you. You're never alone. Never, ever. I know life gets rough, and sometimes we feel like it's an uphill battle, but you're not alone. I'm here for anybody who needs anybody to listen or talk to or needs advice on any situation. I've probably been through it. I'm getting old, so I've been through a lot of things in life. I wasn't able to walk, like I said, so I know what it's like to feel like giving up is the easiest thing to do. But fighting is better. It's better for you, and it's better for the people that love you, because no matter who you are, somebody loves you somewhere, and don't ever forget that. Never, ever. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for the likes. Thanks for the shares. Thanks for the comments. Today's episode is going to be about something that really matters to me. It's about frequency. It's something we're never taught about in school. This is the non-physical element of science. A lot of people don't understand what frequency is. They don't really understand that everything in life exists because it exists on its own level of frequency. A simple example is when you see people singing and you see those glasses breaking, that's because their frequency, tone, and pitch has matched the frequency of the glass, and it causes it to break. So how's that for science? And that's what we're going to get into today, because you have to learn how to understand your frequency. When you understand that the world operates on frequency and you learn how to manipulate frequency, you can get anything you want. That's what the law of attraction is. And that's what we'll get into today. Thanks for liking. Thanks for sharing. Leave comments, email me, comment about episodes you want to do stuff on. I'm open to anything. I want to learn about anything with you. I want to learn something new every day. I want you to learn something new every day. So make sure you tune in. Make sure you tell me what it is you want to learn about. Thank you.
What come out your mouth is what's going to come back to you. It's the law of attraction. All men are dogs. You finna meet all of them. I never get nobody. You're not. I can't lose this weight. You sure ain't. I'm going to get fit this year. Strong possibility. I'll never be rich. Promise you won't. I'm gonna be rich one day. Strong possibility. That's how it works, man. It is the law of attraction. The moment you say it, you begin to change. It's the process. If you think big, you'll be big. If you think small, you'll be small.
Every day, we broadcast a signal. Not with our mouths, but with our minds. And with that, it means your thoughts produce your reality. If you're always constantly telling yourself things, like, oh, I'm broke, then you're always going to find reasons why you're broke. You'll have bills that are due. You'll have, don't feel like you don't make enough money, or you feel like, it's just not enough. And the first problem is if you're chasing it, it's never going to be enough, because you'll always chase it because you'll always want more. And when it comes to money, I've always told myself something really simple. You either live how you work, or you're going to have to work how you want to live. And, that's the way that it works. Everything works like that. And it all starts with our thoughts. It starts with our minds. And a lot of us are stuck where we've been for years, because we're stuck in that low vibrational thinking, or we tell ourselves things and our body reinforces that because that's its job. You know, the whole world operates on frequency. Every single thing in the universe operates on frequency. You can feel it, when somebody walks into a room and they're in a bad mood and you just feel the life get sucked out of the room, or anywhere you guys are at, you just feel someone walk in and you're like, oh, that's, something's wrong with them. Why does it feel off? And you feel that. And it also works the same way when somebody with good energy walks into a room. It just changes the energy of the room. A good example is when people have babies. When somebody brings a baby into the room, everybody all of a sudden lights up because they feel that energy from the baby. They feel that high frequency that baby is on, because the highest frequency that exists is authenticity. Okay? And authenticity is something that we don't have in this world because people are afraid to be themselves. And you can't be yourself if you don't know who yourself is. That falls into the last episode that we talked about, is like, who are you? Who is the self? We're so dominated by our ego and this physical material world and these material belongings that we get lost in what life really is. You can acquire all these houses and cars and all this money, but at the end of the day, you can't take it with you. You can't be buried with any of it. Yeah, people will be like, oh, like, they had a lot of nice things, but were you a nice person? Did you change somebody's life? I know for a fact that I can say that not a single person I've ever met, their life is in the same position it was in when I met them. And I've never really brought anybody down. So for me, that's a compliment. That makes me feel good inside, knowing that when I pass away, people will say that I was the type of person that would change your life. I would do anything for you. I would help you. I would guide you. I won't just give you what you want. I make you realize that you can get what you want if you're willing to do the work. And most of the work usually starts with realizing what you could do differently, because that's authenticity. The more authentic you are, the higher frequency you operate on. For me, I believe that love is the highest frequency. I believe that love surpasses everything in the known universe. It surpasses time. It surpasses distance. It surpasses everything. Things that exist in the physical world don't seem to exist when love is involved. If you think about when you're with the people you love, how time goes fast. The time can drag all day long. It can drag all day long, and you're waiting to see somebody, or you're waiting to spend time with somebody, or you're waiting to do something. And that moment you get to do it, or that moment you get to see them, next thing you know, time is gone. And your schedule makes it so that you aren't spending time with them anymore, or aren't doing what you were wanting to do because you have something else to do. And it just felt like those hours doing that particular thing or whatever just went a whole lot faster, Or there's people who are in long distance relationships who are separated by miles and miles and miles, and all they can think about is that other person because they love them, And that's how it works. That's what energy is. We all know the feeling that it feels to be loved by somebody, our parents, somebody else, our kids, family members. It doesn't matter. We all know what love feels like at one point or another. And it's amazing. And it's, like I said, it's translucent. It's a frequency. It's the highest frequency there is. But like everything in the world, there are opposites to everything. Everything has an opposite. Okay, we wouldn't understand light without day. We wouldn't understand happiness without sadness. We wouldn't appreciate sunshine if we never had rain. Okay, we wouldn't appreciate warm weather if we never had cold. Okay, we wouldn't have a man if we didn't have a woman. Okay, This is how the world works. This is what the idea of the yin and yang was, in ancient philosophy, that everything in this world has balance. Okay. So if love is the highest frequency, then the most negating frequency of that is fear. And fear is the only thing that makes people afraid to love. And that's how they control us, because we're afraid. We're afraid to open up to people because we're scared they might use it against us, or they might judge us, and they might not like who we are, or they might not accept who you are. So you hide who you are. So then you're not being authentic with yourself. So again, lower vibrational thinking, lower vibrational frequencies. And when you operate in that lower realm of frequency, those are the negative energies. That's an attitude or depression or anxiety. All of those are low level frequencies. The music you listen to is frequency. They changed our music a long time ago. Okay, a long time ago, music used to be registered at 432 hertz. That was the natural frequency resonance for human beings. Okay. And then they did a study and realized they could change the frequency of music without us even knowing, because they're not going to tell you, and nobody's going to look it up because nobody ever thinks about anything like that. Nobody ever questioned, oh, what is music? What is the frequency of music that we listen to? It's simple. It's like a radio station, if there's a radio station you want to listen to, you have to dial in that frequency to get that exact radio station. And that's how life works, okay? If there's something you want to accomplish, you have to dial in, all right? You have to dial into that frequency. Every thought, every emotion, every action has to lead to exactly what it is you want, and you will get it. It's like a basketball player who wants to play basketball, but they don't put anything into it. Michael Jordan didn't make the 10th grade basketball team, okay? Most people hear that and they're like, you're fucking crazy. Like, no, he literally didn't make the varsity basketball team in 10th grade. So, to see where Michael Jordan is now, and know that in 10th grade he didn't even make the cut for the basketball team, is incredible. Because he put himself on that level of frequency. Every choice he made, everything he did was to get where he wanted to be. And that's all you have to do. And you can do anything you want to do. No matter what it is. Start tomorrow and you can do exactly what you want to do. It does not matter what it is. All you have to do is make the right choices, make the right thoughts, and keep yourself in the right cycle. And you will get there. But if you're afraid to start because you might fail, you're not even going to start. You cannot get to a finish line if you do not get on the track. And there's no willing to get on the track. There's no reason to get on the track unless you're willing to run. And that's what frequency is. It's like when you see a frog inside of water and you see them making that noise, they're like, brrr, and you see the water vibrating around them, okay? That's the frequency. They're using that frequency in the water, and that's what makes it vibrate, okay? Your body is 70% water. Your thoughts vibrate that water, that frequency. Everything exists in the world that you want. You just have to tune yourself to the right frequency to get it. If you're telling yourself that, oh, there's only bad men out there, then you're always going to meet bad men. If you're telling yourself that you're never going to be loved, or no one likes you, or you think everybody judges you, that's all you're going to feel. Your body's going to reinforce that. But if you can tell yourself those things, can't you tell yourself, I am loved, I am amazing, I am beautiful, I am happy, I am proud, I am worth it. Can't you tell yourself those things? Why does it always have to be the negative? That negative is what keeps you in a negative mindset. joining people who are in a negative mindset pull you into a negative mindset because it's a frequency. And just like math, negatives only absorb negatives. When a positive meets a negative, it only lowers the positive number. That's exactly how your attitude works. If you have a positive attitude and you meet a negative person and you allow them to be a problem, you are going to lose your positive energy. Okay? You cannot let people infiltrate that. It does not matter who they are to you. Okay? It doesn't matter if they're your mom or your dad or your boyfriend or your brother or your sister. If they're trying to pull you out of the way that you want to be, you do not have to allow them to do that. You cannot give people the power to play God with your life. If somebody has the ability to change your entire day with just one word or just one sentence or just one attitude, they have more power than you give God. You let people play God with your life? Use your mind. Use your silence. Silence is the strongest weapon that exists on earth. Why? Because what happens when somebody's trying to bully you and you just don't say anything? You don't pay attention. You don't do anything. Sure, once in a while, one of them might just hit you to try to rally you up, but then you have a right to just do whatever you need to in return at that point. So when it's gotten to that point, then you can do whatever you have to. But up until that point, you don't have to react. You do not have to react at all. And most of the time, we all know that people who are yelling or talking shit or doing whatever they're doing only keep going when you react, because that's exactly what they want you to do. They want you to give them a reaction. They want you to give them your attention. They want you to give them your energy, because they're energy vampires. It's a whole world that exists that you cannot see. A whole realm that only lives off of negative energy. This whole world lives off of negative energy. We live it every day. We see people every single day. Every single one of you deals with somebody every day who has a shitty ass attitude. Mostly because they don't like the life that they're living. The life that they could change at any moment. Whether it's that they're dating somebody they don't want to be with anymore, or they're not happy in a marriage, or they're not happy because their family dictates their life or judges them, or you have people judging you for how you feel or what you do. Why the fuck does it matter? Why do you give anybody power? You are the power. You have the power and ability to think and attract anything you want in this life. You have the power and ability to feel any way that you want to feel in this life. If you want to be happy, tell yourself you're fucking happy. And find the reasons in your life that you're happy. You have a home. You have somebody that loves you. You have a job. You have whatever it is. You have family. You have friends. You have dogs. You have cats. Anybody can find a reason to be negative. There's a reason to be negative about everything. But anytime you look at the negative part of something, you're only going to reinforce more negative things. Because that's how negativity works. It's like I said, that invisible force. You can be mad and all of a sudden you stub your toe on the same table you've been walking by for 15 years. How the fuck did that happen? It's like it's magic. How does your shirt randomly get caught on the doorknob? Like, that's that energy at work. You know, frequency is something we're never, ever, ever even remotely brought up about anywhere. Anywhere. Most of our friends don't know about it. School don't teach you about it. The news certainly ain't talking about it, except trying to keep you in a lower frequency. That's about it. That's what the news's job is to do. And the news's job is to cover up the news, not give you the news, as we've recently realized. As still nobody is in handcuffs. Talk about low fucking vibrational frequency. That shit pisses me off. That puts me in a low frequency, all right. But it is what it is. You know, I can protect my kids. That's all we can do. Not be billionaires who decide to run trafficking rings. I guess at least then you have a little influence with the government and you never got to worry about handcuffs unless you make, you know, comments about certain people or certain countries or, you know, certain things. You know, there's laws that protect certain people in certain places and certain things, but doesn't protect anybody else. But, you know, that's neither here nor there. That's that low frequency vibrational thinking. You know, and I got some notes on today. So let me look over here at my notes real quick and get into those. Let's see. Oh, yeah, this was a good one. You know, it says your brain is electrical, and those patterns create habits and expectations and emotional states. And emotional states influence behavior. Behavior shapes outcome, and outcomes reinforce your beliefs. So that means, exactly like I said, what you believe is what you'll see. Okay, it's the cup half full, half empty theory. Okay, if you're always looking at your cup half empty, it's always going to be half empty to you. Okay, that's always the way it's going to be. And that's how life works. So we have to train our brains to think happy thoughts and say happy things and reinforce the good things about ourselves. Look yourself in the mirror every day you wake up and tell yourself, I am beautiful. I am strong. I am productive. I am me. Every day for a week, and watch how your life just starts to change. Instead of waking up in the morning and, oh, fuck, I got to get up again, and, oh, I don't want to be here, and, oh, I don't want to do this, and I don't want to do that. Well, then your body's going to say, oh, well, I don't want to do that shit either. My mind is telling me and my whole body full of all these atoms that we don't want to do this shit today. So your body's going to feel more tired and feel more sluggish. And, you know, it's like why they have so many health commercials on TV. If they tune your brain to constantly hear things about health while you're sleeping and watching TV, because they're the number one purchaser of ads on any entertainment industry next to politicians. So that's, you know, that's how they do it. They program your mind. Your mind is subconsciously thinking about diseases all the time. Oh, do I have this? Do I have that? Constantly on WebMD because you cough or you do that. Like, but you're still, you know, still in a low vibrational form of thinking, you know, still on a lower frequency plane. And that's where diseases come in. That's where entities come in. People literally get possessed because they're on such a low frequency. You know, trauma will cause a low frequency in people because they're stuck in their trauma and they can't address it for whatever reason. You know, trauma is one of those things that it can change you your whole life or it can motivate you for the rest of your life. And a lot of people that suffer from trauma, you know, they are stuck in it. But the thing is that if you're here now and that happened then, it's not happening to you now. So don't let what happened to you then control how you respond now. Because whatever happened then isn't what's happening now. And you aren't the person that you were then. You're you now, without them. And whatever caused that trauma didn't only take your power then and hurt you then, you're still giving it power now. You're still giving it energy now. It's why therapists continue to have jobs, because what are you doing? You're constantly talking about what bothers you. Well, no shit. That's why it's always bothering you, because you're always talking about it. It's always at the forefront of your mind instead of having other things at the forefront of your mind. Today is a better day because I don't have to relive what I went through. My life is better because this will never happen to me again. This person will never take advantage of me. This, person will never break my heart again. Whatever that trauma is to you. A parent that walked out on you, okay? You'll never have to be the parent that walks out on a child if you don't want to be. Or is that trauma from your parent walking out on you going to make you the parent that walks out on your kid? And that's how cycles are born. We are not genetically predisposed to anything. This has been scientifically proven. They did a study where they put 2 cancer cells inside of a petri dish that both had cancer and put them in different environments. And the one that had the proper environment for the cancer grew cancer. But the cancer that was taken out of the environment and out of the cancerous environment didn't grow. Which fundamentally explains how your environment affects your reality. And it does. From our parents to our grandparents and their parents. But if you think about it, that's what leads to situations like we're in America today. Because our parents were too distracted to ask questions, and their parents were too loyal to ask any. And the parents before that were the ones who built this shit. There was nothing to question then. When they absolutely demanded that their country would never go to war. They would never let them. Okay? We got conned into going to war by J.P. Morgan. Allegedly. I think that my next season is going to be on banks. I think I'm going to get into banks for you guys so we can kind of understand how money works a little bit. They like to move money around without us really knowing how the rules of the game work. So I think I'm going to break that down for you guys in a few episodes. If that's something you're interested in, let me know. Doing some work on that right now. Also, something I'm looking into is the original bloodlines of the world. There's 13 original bloodlines that have flowed for a long time. Depends what kind of stuff you're into. I want to get into stuff like that, but I digress. Let's get back to where we are. Talking about frequency and energy and your mind, and how your mind is the most valuable thing you have. It's so important to protect what you put into your mind, whether it's the music you listen to or the programs you watch or the news you let in your brain. It's very important that you are selective of what you allow in your mind and what you allow in your kids' mind. I just want to take a second. I was watching the Senate hearing because Netflix is trying to merger with Warner Brothers and that. And I just want all my parents who hear this to hear me, because the guy said like this, he broke it down. Okay. I have children of all ages. All right. And my children under 7, all of their programs for children under 7 have a 41% LGBTQ undertone in them. Okay. Programming. 41%. Okay. If your child is up to 14 years old, that percentage goes up to almost 60%. All right. So keep that in mind. All right. Because what your children absorb is very important. It's very important. It's why we have so many depressed kids these days. If you mix social media with the kind of content and the brain rot they're putting in their mind, it's why children are depressed. How the fuck can a child be depressed? Please. You've never had to pay a single bill in your life. Okay? Your biggest concern is that somebody is making fun of you at school. Okay? And like I tell my kids, if somebody's making fun of you, they're only doing two things. Either one, they're talking shit, which is irrelevant because it's not true. Or two, they're telling the truth and it offends you. And like everybody else, whether you're a kid or an adult, if the truth offends you, then change the fucking truth. It's that simple. It's super simple. If you don't like when somebody says something about you and what they say about you is true, then fucking change it. And you're the only person who can change it. The world's not going to change it. Nobody's going to change it for you. Your mom's not going to change it for you. Your dad's not going to change it for you. Your job's not going to change it for you. You have to change it for you. You have to put yourself on that frequency level of that goal that you want to achieve. Okay? Everything you want in this life already exists. You just have to get it. Everything you want to achieve in life already exists. You just have to put in the work to get there. You have to tune yourself to the proper frequency and the proper conscious decisions to end up where you want to be. And that's what I want for all of you. Reaffirm yourselves. Tell yourselves you're amazing. Tell yourselves you're worth it. Tell yourselves you are loved. Tell yourselves your cup is half full because you wake up every day to enjoy this present, not to live in the past that's gone, not to live in the future that might not even exist for you because you could die today. Knowing that you could die anytime, any moment of any day means that you should live your life to the fullest every single day of your life. You should be the happiest person of your life every single day. Every single day. Sure, life has bad things that happen, but there's always something good that comes out of it. Always. You always learn something from something bad that happens, because usually something bad that happens is from some sort of mistake. And you can learn from mistakes as long as you're willing to own up to them. As long as you're willing to be authentic, because again, authenticity is the highest level of frequency there is. When you're your truest form of yourself, nothing can penetrate you. Nobody's energy can penetrate you. Nobody's thoughts, nobody's comments, nobody's judgments. None of that can affect you. Because you're you. And whatever anybody says about you or thinks about you, it doesn't matter to you because you're you. And being you is the best thing you can ever be. But do you know how to be you? Do you know how to find who you are? Without the music, without the television, without the partner's reaffirmance, without nothing, okay? You don't need somebody to tell you that they love you. You don't need somebody to love you. All that love you putting into somebody else, you could put into yourself. Half the problem with the world is we want somebody to love us like we love them. Well, there's a news flash. You're the only you, so nobody can love you like you. Period. Love you. There's nothing wrong with loving yourself. There's nothing wrong with telling yourself that you are amazing. There's nothing wrong with telling yourself that you're beautiful or handsome, that you're strong, that you're smart, that you're healthy. Because you are. You're amazing and you're beautiful, and I appreciate you, and I'm thankful for your time and your attention and just giving me the opportunity to say the things that I feel and talk about the things that I love and to share all of my knowledge with everybody that I love and to hope that this changes somebody's life. To hope that one day somebody will hear it and they'll be like, wow, I think everybody needs to hear this. And then they just share it with the world. Because This is who we are. These are things that we're never going to be taught in school. Teach your kids about frequency when they're young. Teach them when they're little to protect their peace, so they can be different from us. And maybe, just maybe, some generations down the road, we won't live in a society that's hijacked by evil, sick people that want to keep you in low energy so they can feed off of your energy. That's how this system exists. Think about it like a battery, okay? A battery gets drained because you have something pulling on the positive and negative. Well, we are positive light beings by nature. That's who we are. When you walk on the ground, they call it grounding because the ground is grounded. Now your battery is draining. And the only way to fill that up is to operate on a high frequency. Because everything that exists in frequency. Let me leave you off with a fun fact, okay? This is how you know that something incredible designed this world. In the morning hours, when you hear those birds tweeting, the frequency of the birds tweeting tells the flowers that it's time to open up. That's the most beautiful thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Almost the craziest, next to the idea that a blade of grass can almost tell exactly what you're wearing, but we'll get into that another time. I really love you guys. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Like, share, subscribe. I only need a few more so I can go live on YouTube. That's my goal, is to try to get there so I can go live. I don't know how that really works. I don't know if it's like an open platform or I'm only live for the people that subscribe to me. But either way, it's just a goal I want to reach. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for your time. I can't thank you enough for that. Time is one of the most important currencies on earth. And I appreciate you giving me yours. You know, I hope it helps out. I hope that this can change the way that you think and change the way that you look at life, because you can accomplish anything you want. Just tune in. You always say lock in. Now you got to tune in. Tune into the right frequency, the right consciousness, the right choices, the right attitude. You can do it. I believe in you. I love you. I'll see you next time.
It seems like you may have forgotten a few things about yourself. So let me just remind you. You've got an amazing heart. You're kind. You're beautiful. You're brave. You're smart. You can do hard things. You deserve love. You deserve kindness. You deserve all the happiness your heart can contain. You've got so much endurance. You fought so hard and so long. You've got grit. You